this week also I learned that one of my clients, he lost $100,000 on from his Bitcoin wallet. It got hacked.
Oh wow!
Because he installed CloudBot, or something happened with a there was like a security breach, and he got hacked really bad.
Wow.
Yeah. So
this is all within the last week.
This has happened.
Welcome everybody to AI for Teams podcast. And today's guest, I've really been wanting to have him for quite a while now. I met him back in December at Alex Moscow's event, Profit Engine event. And this is someone who really surprised me. Just the amount of experience that he has. He has closed an $800 million deal before. Long story behind that. And so I'm super excited to introduce him. I first met him when I met him with, I call it the Three Hermanos, with Joel Elster and me and him. And then I ended up spilling coffee onto him and just made a whole experience out of that. So he's a former General Electric executive, scaling a CFO who has taken companies from 0 to $1 billion, and how he's the founder of Ascend Growth Ventures, where he helps 7-figure founders become 8-figure architects. More importantly, he's one of the most in-tune people I know when it comes to the real-world applications of AI in business. So Cruz, welcome to AI for Teams. It's an honor to have you.
Well, it's an honor to be here, Christian. Thank you so much for inviting me to the podcast. I've been looking forward to doing this for a while as well. So thank you so much.
And so, Cruz, I wanted to start the story. You shared with me at the after party at Event Profit Engine, where you closed an $800 million deal, and you mentioned the intense internal and external politics that you had to kind of change to get inside that deal. So what was the single hardest moment that you had, what you did, and you had to sacrifice to get it across the finish line?
Well, yeah, so let me give you a little bit of context so that people know what we're talking about, right? So I used to work at General Electric for over 20 years. And there was this one specific transaction that was pivotal for me getting promoted to executive. And it was a transaction in Argentina. It was a big power plant. It was an opportunity that, quite frankly, nobody really wanted to touch. It was hairy because it was Argentina. It was big. It required the company taking on a little bit of risk that the company wasn't comfortable doing. But at the same time, I had all my bosses pushing me to do more business and more deals and going after everything that would put General Electric back on the map, because General Electric had abandoned pretty much the Argentine market for a while, because it was just very, I don't know if you remember, in 2001, they had a big crisis.
Yeah.
The country was in a bad shape. But what happens is that during that time, GE kind of like stopped doing business, and Siemens, which is the kind of like the nemesis for General Electric at the time, was really eating their lunch. They did over like $5 billion in deals in that market. So what I started asking myself is, how come a big corporation like Siemens is able to do business in Argentina and we're not, right? So I started asking questions and approaching people, and then I realized that things weren't as horrible as they seem, that the government kind of like understood their vulnerabilities, and they were more willing to negotiate and give more guarantees, etc. So I practically mobilized the whole company to start really considering getting that transaction completed. And eventually we did. I got some resources, we bid, we won. And then we started to negotiate a contract, and that was one of the things that really, towards the end of it, I came out an executive, but I also came out completely burnt out, with my mind, was not in a great place. I kind of lost a little bit of cognitive intelligence. I couldn't like if you and I were talking, I would it was hard for me to process conversations.
Yeah.
Like, this is how burnt out I was, and quite frankly, I didn't even know what burnout was.
Huh.
I had no idea that was a thing, because I have always been the kind of guy who did the grind, who did like everything I had to do. I was like the super soldier of that every corporation would aspire to have. That was me, okay? So burnout was just not in my dictionary. Okay. But yeah, so I closed the deal, I got promoted, and it was, I think the reason, just kind of like tracing it back as to why I got burnt out. Well, first of all, the physics of it. Like I spent close to 4 months straight negotiating a deal every day from like 8 to like 9 p.m.
Wow.
Every day. And it's not only time with the clients, but it's also the preparation with the negotiating team. And they used to send me like new batches of people. Like, they would send like 3 or 4, 7 people to come and help me. They will completely burn out, and a month later they will go back to the US, and I would continue to be there, like going at the same pace, and they will send a whole new set of people to help me negotiate. But I was the only person that was there the whole time. I didn't see my family. I mean, we were supposed to take a vacation, we didn't, and it strained my relationship with my now ex-wife, and it also, in a way, it distanced me from my daughter. I didn't attend some of her events. I wasn't spending enough time with them, and that was just, even until this moment, I think she reminds me of that time when I wasn't there. That's all she remembers. You know what I mean? That I was that father that wasn't there, but even though after that event I was there all the time.
Yeah, it left like just a resemblance, or it just left
an imprint. An imprint on her.
Yeah.
Like, this is how powerful the mind of children are, right? So So it's one of those things that I don't recommend, and in fact, it became kind of like the driving force for what I do today. Because what I do at my company is we help 7 and 8 figure founders who are great at sales, who are great at marketing, who are great at their craft, but have financial blind spots. Okay, who are not really managing their profit and their cash flow in a way that feels sustainable, in a way where they have control of the future, in a way that they're really using numbers to scale their business. And I know when people hear me say, they're like, well, I'm scaling my business. I'm growing my revenues by 30%.
Yeah.
And then you ask them, like, what about your profits? Like, well, yeah, it's been hard, right? Because we've had to invest. So what's happening to a lot of my clients is that they're actually scaling their businesses, and then at some moment, they realize that they're actually making less money, like creating a whole team to scale the company, than when they were actually running the business themselves, when they were maybe under $1 million or even slightly over $1 million. Why? Because they had more control of the processes, of the conversations, etc. And then at some point, you start having a team, and if you have a small team, if it's 2 or 3 people, it's easier than if you have 10 people working for you. And then at some point, you kind of lose control of what's happening in the operation. And if you don't have the systems and the financial clarity to set your business up for success, then it trickles down, right? You start getting less profit, less cash flow, and that's very stressful. And when the nervous system is not regulated and you are in like that survival mode,
exactly,
that's when you start getting burnout. You start feeling like you're putting all this effort and you're not seeing the impact back, and then obviously that also trickles down into your relationships, right? At home, socially, etc. And this is one of the founders' dilemma that most clients who I work with find themselves in.
And kind of taking a sidetrack there, you create content. You've grown your LinkedIn. You've grown on social media, and you're quite known for that. You use a 10K filter, I believe I see, where decide where to focus. You decide where to focus their time. Can you walk us through like a 10K filter?
Yes. So that's I don't know where I saw, I read that somewhere. I read a lot, and one exercise that I have my clients do is to think that their time is worth, I mean, I use 10K, but some people are like, oh my God, but I don't feel comfortable with that. It's like, well, what do you feel comfortable with? 1K? 2K? All right, okay, use 2K, right?
Right.
So you gotta think that every decision and everything that you do in the organization as being an opportunity cost. So if you can, I'm gonna make it up. If you have to sit down with somebody to fix a spreadsheet, if that spreadsheet was fixable by somebody that you can pay $100 an hour, then why are you doing that if your time is worth $2,000 an hour?
Yeah,
right?
Doesn't make sense. Yeah.
So that's when you start making those trades where like, well, do I really want to be spending the time on this stuff, or do I want to just either like hire somebody to start doing that, or create a new role, right? That also encompasses that activity that usually happens within the activities that need to be done in your company. Mm-hmm. So that's basically what that whole concept is designed. Is just to basically give you an opportunity cost so that you know where you need to be spending your own time. Because if you can be out there, not at the company, you can be out there networking and getting yourself in front of people that can get you in front of millions of other people.
Exactly.
That's where you need to be spending your time, because that's amplifying, that's giving you leverage for you to grow your business. And that's where you're as a CEO of the company, as a leader of the company, that's where you should be spending your time on, right?
Yeah. And also it's like, it's the most effective way to go about it. With working with so many founders and just you yourself just knowing all the metrics, what's like the most common like metrics that like you're seeing CEOs and founders not track?
Yeah, runway. I mean, people understand runway, but they don't really track it. You cash generated in a month. They just look at the bank account instead, right? Which is good. I mean, you have to also look at the bank account, right? But don't get me wrong, that's not a good predictor of what's going to happen in your company. So what I do instead is we introduce the concept of the 13-week cash flow forecast. So now you're not only looking at runway as a metric, but also you have a tool that allows you to see sort of ahead of the next 2 to 3 months what's going to happen, what are some of the things that you need to be mindful of. Do you have enough room to actually get into this mastermind or buy this new thing or hire a person, right? You need to have tools to be able to make decisions, and the 13-week cash flow forecast is one of the easiest and like healthiest tools that any organization needs to institute. And in fact, it becomes a tool that is so powerful that it starts to define the culture of the company. Because if you know that you have a tool that everybody's looking at the same time, and you know exactly what's coming down the pike for the next 3 months, and you're like, oh yeah, we need to hire the next guy, right? It's like, well, what are you gonna do first? You're gonna check the tool, right? And you're gonna see if there's room before you actually make the request that you want to hire that person, or get on that mastermind, or buy or spend more on marketing or try a new campaign. All of that, it becomes that glue that brings everybody in the organization together.
That's interesting. So what is the most common mistake that you see a founder do within all of that?
Well, it's not having one, right? And that stems.
And how does that like truly affect them to where they want to go?
Okay, let me sort of unpack it for you. Right. So what I see mostly, what people would do, what most founders will do, is they are going to check their bank account.
Yeah.
So basically, right. So they're going to be like, oh, I have $200,000 in the bank account. Okay. Everybody knows because that's easy, right? But what they're not going to do is they're not going to sit down at the end of each month to analyze what happened with their numbers. Why is there $200,000 in the bank account? What happened that month?
Yeah.
Did I hit my revenue numbers? Did I hit my profit numbers? Did I manage my accounts receivables, my inventory, or my accounts payables properly? Did I get a return on my ad spend in the way that I was expecting? All of those questions you need time for integration every month. And what I've noticed is there are certain amount of founders, I'm not everybody, but some founders are not really keen on going through that exercise every month because it's kind of boring and sometimes it's kind of daunting. Like, you got a bunch of numbers from your accountant or bookkeeper and you're like, what the hell is this? I don't understand this stuff, right? And that's where the problem is because you're dealing with people who are, they have an expertise. Accountants and bookkeepers are very much necessary, don't get me wrong, but they don't understand your business.
Right.
They don't understand, they don't know how to show you numbers in an executive way that they can make it actionable for you. And that's why people want to hire people like me.
And so clearly through your expertise and just working, you become an expert in this. What is, when you walk in, when someone comes work with you, what is the process you walk them through?
Correct. So my process is, first of all, I have them take a few assessments, mostly for them, so that they're clear and on how their problem, like what is their problem, right? Because some of them, they know they have a problem, but they don't really know how to define the problem. So I have a couple of diagnostic tools that we use for that. And then we have like two ways, right? We either either send people into a workshop where, I kind of like talk about some of the things that we do ahead of time, or they come directly into a call with me. And what we do in that call is I literally like spend months trying to perfect that call so that in less than 1 hour, I would basically give you a really good diagnostic of what's happening with your company, pressure test the constraint of your company, and even give you what is the gap between where you are right now and where you want to be.
Yeah.
With financial statements already made for you and sent to you by the end of the meeting. Like all of that, right? That takes systems, that takes automation, that takes like design of the conversation, that takes following a kind of a certain script so that I can do all of that in the most impactful way in less than an hour.
What's your best client success story?
Well, right now, one of my best success stories is my client in Miami. So they have basically a real estate company, and one of the things that was actually bringing this client was not, I don't want to say bring it down because that's not what happened. It was really impacting their profits is that they were doing too many things. You know that real estate as an asset class is so vast. You can be doing so many things. And there were like 2 or 3 things that they actually did really well, okay? And 2 that require a lot of capital, but they did not have the, let's say the necessary returns that would match other opportunities that they have in the business. And one of the first things that I did when I first started talking to my client, I basically pointed it out to them that they needed to stop doing this kind of business, which in the past had been very successful, but going forward, because I think like right around the time I gave them that advice, it was an election year and we didn't really know who was going to win. And I was like, we don't want to be tying all this capital in the balance sheet. If you have all of this uncertainty, you wanna be more liquid because you want to be more opportunistic on, like, you can continue to do this line of business, but be opportunistic. See what happened, and then once we have clarity, then you can go ahead and invest. And at first he didn't listen to me, but eventually he started experiencing that some of those deals that he was doing were not selling as fast as he wanted to. So he realized that the advice that I gave him, which is don't tie your capital to those, was actually right. And then he made the pivot to really focus on his core business. And now that business is growing at double-digit rates, faster than it ever has. And now we're actually the whole management team, because he has a great management team, we're just focused on just optimizing the hell out of that core business. And that's how he's now positioned to go from high 7 figures to 8 figures, just on that core business because he was already an 8-figure business with the other business, but with low profitability. Do you understand?
Yes.
So this is the one trap that many founders, fall into. They believe that because you have more revenues, you have more profits, and I can assure you that I know of plenty of businesses that have have really high revenues, but really shitty profits.
Yeah.
So like who wants that? That's not a good.
No.
That's not a good deal.
That's not why we get into business. Yeah.
That's not why we get into business. Correct. Yeah.
Okay. And all of that is really great. And how long did you work with that client?
We had we started and we stopped and then we resumed. Probably all in like 8-9 months.
8-9 months.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there was a little bit of a hiatus in the middle of all of it. So.
Okay, got it. And so we're in the world of AI. I see you going to many different masterminds. You're always learning. You're staying up to date with everything. Just before this, we were talking about I sent you something with Madness. Actually, back in the event Profit Engine, I told you about Madness, and then you went ahead and used it. What's been your experience with Madness?
Madness, it's great, man. I had to do I was invited to teach a course on financial intelligence for founders in the context of the scaling up methodology. Mm-hmm. And it was seven sessions, each 1 hour. And I didn't have a lot of time to prepare all of them. And they actually gave me sort of the objectives for each session. That was sort of like what was already provided for me. But what was in the middle, it was a blank slate. I have to start from pretty much scratch. So what I did is I work a combination of Claude and Manus because I know Manus can get expensive.
Yeah.
And I literally it took me probably 5 to 6 hours to really perfect it. I created 7 presentations with the same format, with the same sort of structure, and completely cohesive. And now I'm delivering the presentations; they're already done. And I mean, it's like it really saved me a lot of time and
how much
and
time would have been otherwise?
Each presentation was about 25 to 30 slides.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So imagine if I had to manually prepare 25 to 30 slides times 7, okay? Like a 30 slide presentation in the past would have taken me 3 hours. Okay? So you're talking, let's do the math. 21 hours, 24 hours, right? This took me 3 to 4, including preparing for just kind of like pressure testing the presentation. It's like, well, do I want to say that? Making the edits, and then just going through the presentation, cleaning them up, making sure that I had consistent messages and CTAs and all of that. So I mean, it's really a game changer.
Yeah, and then it's also like you're using credits obviously to create this, but like the amount of it's nothing compared to the time saved, right?
Well, let's go back to the concept that you brought up, the 10K an hour, right?
Right.
So if I put my time as a 10K, if I apply that same concept, and if it was going to take me, I mean, obviously this is a gross exaggeration, but if it was costing me $1,000, just to make it easier, right, to work 20 hours on a presentation, that's $20,000, right?
Yep. And
now it took me $4,000 to make that presentation. That's real savings.
Yep, that's exactly.
Yeah.
And I like that you use the Claude and Madness combination because you build all the prompt and all the information on Claude, and then you drop it into Madness, so that way you save obviously credits on that. We do the same thing at AI for Teams. We use what we teach is building internal GBTs like ChatGPT and then dropping it into Madness.
Correct.
And so, how do you go about? And I'm curious with Madness. Do you build a knowledge base? Like, do you give it do you drop files with frameworks or like this is the expertise, the knowledge, and like how do you go about creating?
I also use Claude. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So because I understand that you have to be smart with all of these tools, right?
Yeah.
You have to. I mean, this is. I mean, you don't have to, but this is what I do. What I do is I approach everything that I do as something that I'm going to have to do again. Okay, so if I'm doing it right now, if I'm building a 7-hour presentation, 200 slides, whatever, right? I'm going to assume that this is a task that I'm going to repeat at some point. Okay, so as I'm going through the process and I'm finished, I'm like, okay, so what is it that I learned from this? I learned that in order to do a presentation like this, these are the things that I need to do. And so what I do is I then say to Claude, give me the instructions, create instructions for every time that I have to go through this process so that I can do it in a more effective manner. And then create the document, save it, put it into Manus, and now it has context. It knows that every time I have to do a 200-slide presentations, this is the process that we're going to follow.
Yeah.
And now I know that too, and I know that I train my Manus. So if I ever had that need for myself, or even for one of my clients, and I needed to help them, I know what to do.
Are you helping your clients use AI within their business?
I am, and I am also considering taking that to the next level because talking about business today without the use of AI, it's starting to feel kind of awkward.
Yeah.
You can't just talk about business if you're not really inserting the productivity aspect of doing business in any business conversation. So yes, I am doing that more and more. And as you and I have spoken as well, I also feel that it's my duty as a leader for my clients, because I think that I consider what I do is consulting, but it's also leadership, right? So as a leader for my clients, I believe that it is my duty to get really, really smart about all of this stuff so that I'm also able to save them time, so that I'm able to have more in-depth conversations with them and say, this is nonsense, this is distractions, focus on this, okay? Because it is daunting. I mean, I was sharing with you before we started recording the podcast that this week was a little vulnerable for me.
Yeah.
I had, I was attending a mastermind with Alex, and I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was telling me how he is building this Claude bot that is basically knows everything about him. And at the same time, I shared with him that this week also I learned that one of my clients, he lost $100,000 on from his Bitcoin wallet. It got hacked.
Oh wow!
Because he installed Claude bot, or something happened with that. There was like a security breach, and he got hacked really bad.
Wow.
Yeah. So
this is all within the last week.
This has happened like very recently.
Wow.
And I'm just like, I'm sitting and seeing like the power of all of these tools, and at the same time I'm wondering like, where's this taking us? What
Yeah.
is this stuff that's happening? It's just happening so fast. And I know that in a way I'm blessed, because I believe that even having these conversations, I think this is like a 0.01% of the population are having these conversations.
Yes.
We're at the leading edge of having this podcast where we're talking about how we're shaping the future.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like feel that in your body.
I feel it.
You know what I mean?
Been feeling it. Yeah.
Yeah. So we are. This week was just really strong like that for me, and I was just thinking, shit. Like, if this is where the world is going, what do we do? Like, how do we prioritize? What are the things that I need to get into? Like, who do I have to become?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who do I have to become?
Because the majority of the population, they're not going to go in and it's very drastic, and like we're in rooms where like people invested tons of money to really learn this, and so it's like the gap to like actually learning how to utilize this at a different edge, and the people that are, you just don't know. It's just vast. It's very, I mean, dangerous in a sense.
Super dangerous.
Yeah.
I do not recommend, if you're watching this, I do not recommend that you start like, downloading Claudebot and doing all this stuff if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
It can get really scary really quick, okay? The best thing is to go back to community. And
Yeah.
that's the point that I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
That I think what AI is doing, at least for me, I mean, this is like the aha moment I had this week after going through these epiphanies, is that the pearl, the future, the magic pill is community.
Yep.
You have to go back to community. You can't be in your office, in your cubicle, in your corner office, wherever it is that you like, You can't be alone going through this period. This period is calling for us humans to be more humans, to be in connection, in community with other humans. That's what this situation is calling us for, to do that. So if there's anything that, if somebody's watching this, and if there's anything that should take away from this conversation, is this. The answer is community. The tech, we'll figure out the tech. But you need community to have the level of clarity that you need in order to take advantage of that tech in the best way possible for your personal life and for your business.
Yeah, and the perspective I want to share, I was talking with someone earlier this week, and it gave me some insight. So when electricity came out, it was all over the magazines. This is gonna ruin the world. This is going to like people were scared. Like they were tremendously scared about electricity. And look what happened. As humanity, we came together and look like we're thriving, like we're alive. And then when the internet came around, same thing happened again. It's going to destroy us, and it's just like it just didn't. So what I see it as is, as a human like all together, humanity, we always collectively come together to solve a problem. Like we always come together like to make the best of like what could be the worst. And you have to have that belief. Like I believe in humanity. Like why wouldn't you?
Yes, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
It's exactly what makes us human. So to me, I mean, it's a kind of like a perfect way to end this I guess this sequence of things that we've been talking about, because to me, in hindsight, me going into General Electric, me doing all of these things, and now me being a consultant, and now trying to be at the forefront of AI for myself and for my clients, I just feel like it's the most human thing that I can do to do all of that.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I elevated my relationship with this journey that I'm in. I elevated myself, and now I see it as my duty as a human to be really smart about this stuff, and to be in community with others, so that I can also support them, and I can also get the support in order to grow to the next level.
Yeah, and leaving that like on a positive note, I do want to move on to the real use cases like within business right now, because being on that side, it is also very exciting what is being possible with business. Like experts now that have been years in like just becoming experts in their craft. Like you're an expert in your craft. Others ads like YouTube, just business in general. Like it's really exciting what AI is being able to do. So like what are things that you're seeing? Like you're around a lot of business owners and yourself. Like what are some exciting things that excite you like within business?
Well, since you're teeing it up, I'm gonna share what I'm doing. Okay. So I was yesterday at an AI showdown. It's kind of like a show and tell for like what people are working on.
Spencer Burnett, right?
Spencer Burnett.
Yeah.
So I was actually presenting my own AI tool. Okay. And basically what I'm doing is I realized that if I wanted to, because my branding is scaling CFO, right? So I help people scale their businesses through just financial clarity. I already mentioned that. But what I started asking myself is that if I was really thinking about scaling from the perspective of my own business, because basically scaling a financial consulting practice is not the same as scaling, another service or product business.
Right.
And I realized that I had several ways of doing that. Like one way could be like create a whole team of people that, so we can get, we can serve the highest number of people. That's definitely doable, and it's probably part of the journey for myself. But in order to achieve my spiritual vision, which is to basically to help 10,000 entrepreneurs to scale their businesses, I probably need something more than that. I need systems, right?
Yeah.
So that kind of like sent me on a rabbit hole to try to, with the help of Claude, obviously, and AI tools, to try to redefine my business in a way that it could be augmented, so that I could help more people through the stuff that I was doing. So that's how I came up with this concept of using a system to help clients, to help my avatar, my ideal client, at scale. So I didn't have to be there all the time, that they have a tool that was so useful that they could be using it every day, and then I only have to have interactions either in a community setting or on a one-on-one, depending on their availability and their desire, right? So that's why I came up with my scalingcfo.io system, and it basically has two avatars. It has one avatar is the CFOs, fractional CFOs, advisors, bookkeepers, accountants who want a system which already has all of my IP. It's the same IP that I'm using with my clients, which is a combination of all my experience in being a CFO at a corporation and doing business development and all of that, and also scaling businesses as a scaling up coach.
Right.
So it's a combination of that into a client management system for other practitioners. Just one window, that's one avatar. The other avatar is really the client, right? It's the person who actually needs this information to run their own business. So what we do, which is absolutely, in my opinion, is it's subtle, but it's more powerful than you think, because if you actually think about the number one problem that a lot of people are having right now with AI when it comes to their own business, is that they apply it only for certain pieces of the business. I want to write a better email. I want to do a presentation. I want to do, these are these are little strips of functionality that you need, right, from AI. But what if you have all of the context about the business? You know the CEO's vision, you know what the values of the organization are, you know the complete makeup, the org chart of that organization, you know who's doing what, because you also know their OKRs, right? You know their financial...
What are OKRs?
Objectives and key results.
Okay.
Okay? It's basically their metrics.
Right.
Okay? You also have their KPIs. You also have their financials performance. You also have information from their CRM, right? You have all of that information, and now the thing not only has data about your business, but it has context. The context of what it is that you want to create, how you do it, what's acceptable or not acceptable, and then like how are you managing your day. So if you have a system that is looking at all of that and it's able to just give you what you need and also prompt you even before you ask it, right? It's like, hey, today, here's what you need. Here's my recommendation on what you need to work on. Is that acceptable, or do you want to make a change, right? So, but all of that information is also connected on the other side with your practitioners.
Yeah.
I mean, there's layers of access of information. Not everybody would have, on the other end, would have information about your calendar, for example, obviously. But about your financials, your performance, now your CFO, your accountant, they know what's going on. So now you have a hybrid model where you have AI helping you on the day-to-day, but there's a human that also has access to the same information, and now you can work together to actually make it stronger.
That's amazing.
Yes, so that's what I'm building.
And how are you building it? Are you vibe coding this? Or you?
I'm vibe coding the hell out of it. Yeah, which is a whole new experience. It is so exciting to be able to have at my fingertips the ability to create. Man, it feels so good. It feels so good to not have to, because I mean I've had really great ideas in the past, but then like every time I start thinking about it, like if I wanted to create this system, I need to hire a team of developers.
Right.
I need to the coder. And like, there's all these people, and I'll be like, oh, that's too hard.
Yeah.
That's too hard. Or even like creating I'll give you an example of like the stuff that you can do. So I have this friend, Andrea, and Andrea, she is one of the best coaches that I've met, right? She's amazing at what she does, but she's a heart-centered person. She's really not a techie, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I was at a mastermind with her, with Alex, and then, I heard what she was doing, and sort of like what she, the kind of clients that she's looking for, etc. And I was just like, Andrea, I think I can help you. Come see me tomorrow. So she came to work with me, and what we did in like about an hour, it took us about an hour. I literally took her business. We created a landing page for her with an assessment that is actually informed by actual research that we did ahead of time. Okay, where we actually took like several different points of research, like really strong research, so that you can actually prove the impact of not fixing the problem that she fixes for her clients. So now you answer this thing, you put your revenue numbers, and you have an idea like what is costing you not to fix this problem in your company.
Yeah.
So now that becomes an easy conversation for her because she knows what she charges. So all you have to do now is to compare like what she charges to the opportunity cost that person, her client, has for the business, and it becomes a 30x return, like so easy. It becomes like a no-brainer to work with her. We did all of that in an hour. We created the copy.
All within an hour.
All within an hour, bro. It was just like it blew my mind that we were able to do all of that. We created a new landing page for her. We connected her to her old domain. All of that in an hour of work together.
That would have taken
months. Months.
Yeah.
Before like talking to some guy in, I don't know, in India or whatever, some guy trying to do your website. I've went through that when I created my website. We no longer do that, but
you can create a website now in 5-10 minutes.
In 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Yes. It probably takes longer for your actual finished product to connect to the domain because it has to go through all these steps, right?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
That's and. So with your area of expertise and you being able to vibe code, now you go from idea to execution in
no time.
In no time.
Yeah, and not only am I able to do that for myself, which is in itself like pretty cool, but I'm actually able to teach that to my own clients, because that's my thing. I don't want to be the guy who's like, well, pay me and I'll do it for you, because that's not what I do. I teach you.
Yeah.
So
it also becomes a bottleneck at some point.
Yeah, because I mean that's not my core business. My core business is to make you money and to scale you, right?
Yeah.
Not to sell you, how to vibe code a certain aspect of your business. That's not my business.
Yeah. And so, are you building trainings within this for your clients?
Funny you say that, because one thing that I also notice is that a lot of people are not on Claude. They're using ChatGPT, which is, by the way, ChatGPT, thank you for everything you've done for me, right? But Claude, for business people, is just so much better.
Really?
I just find Claude to be like so much better for business stuff. I still use ChatGPT for like other more basic stuff.
And why is that? Why is Claude better for business?
And it's just like for example, people say, well, Claude takes longer. Precisely. I want Claude to take longer and give me a product that I can be like, yes, this is great. I mean, this is like quality, right? Like, for example, you ask ChatGPT to give you a script. I'm making this up, right?
Right.
Do it in my tone and whatever. And then it's just like the way it comes out it's good, but it's not great. You know, like the way Claude does it is just so much better, especially as it learns more about you. It's like really night and day. And then the other thing that I like about Claude is that, you know, ChatGPT is sycophantic, right? So you ask anything from ChatGPT and it'll be like, oh my God, Cruz, nobody in this world has ever have a thought like that. You are such at the forefront of, and you're like, bro, just give me the answer. It's like, it's really trying to please you and like make everything so grandiose. On the other hand, you have Claude. Claude's like, I see where you're going, but I think that's not a great idea if we do it like that. My recommendation would be to do it like this, and like that. So now I ask you, do you want a yes man or you want somebody who's actually making you better?
Someone that making you better.
That's Claude.
Yeah. And actually, so we use ChatGPT, but what we've done it is we ask it to ask us questions. We don't want a yes man. So you can't get a version of that within ChatGPT. But you're saying Claude has that already automatically.
It has that automatically. Like I don't even have to. Like my level of programming for Claude is just now more advanced. Okay. And like I'm doing like Claude co-work and Claude code as well, which I'm starting to learn a ton on how to create skills, like how to automate all my processes. Like for example, I used to have to, like every time I wanted to do a financial plan for a client, I had like a template, a financial model that I created, which was standard, and I had to like go and adjust it, manually, and that takes time, right? So what I do now is I have that same template in a skill. So basically what I do is I just said, for this model, these are the things that I want. And then because it had the skill, I spend a lot of time creating the skill, right? I mean, that's my IP. So it figures out what needs to be changed about the model so it's customized for your business. So now it spits it out and already have the historicals already updated, already have everything. So now it's ready for me to analyze it or sit down with my client and start just making changes to the model. That's where the conversation should be. I shouldn't be spending time like trying to like, you know, recreate it. I should be spending time on with my client, you know, just making smart decisions about their business.
Yeah. And you know, that entails just being prepared, right? Like having them be prepared for that.
Yeah. So just to finish that thought, so I created you know, it's like a manual for really leveraging Claude as a business person. So I basically made it because I do, this is my mantra, right? Like I do everything I do, I put myself in the shoes of my client, and I what I do for myself and what I learn, I do it for my clients, so that I'm always giving them tools that are useful to them. Right. You know, so I run everything through that filter because for me, it's all about serving my clients.
So whenever you're going through building something for yourself, you're like, oh, I can use this for my clients as well.
I can use that for my clients because I know who my clients are.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to build something for humanity. I'm not trying to build something for a corporation. I'm trying to build it for 7 and 8 figure founders who want to scale, that are great at marketing and sales, but I have financial blind spots. So I'm always going back. It's like, you know, back to the mantra. Who am I serving? Why am I doing what I'm doing? So
I'm sure any 7-figure business owners will love that. Okay, that's great. And I know you're in tune with plenty of other applications that you're using with AI. Like we were at Internet Marketing Party, then you showed me for note taking. What was that application? Granola. What do you like about using Granola? You're at different masterminds. You're just having different conversations. Like how have you been able to utilize that with like?
Yeah, for Granola it's simple. Like for example, if I go into a presentation and I'm listening, you know, somebody speak, and like sometimes I take notes. I mean, I do take notes every time. I haven't stopped doing that. But sometimes they say something that I thought was really smart, and maybe I was just thinking about that I was hungry and what I was going to do next.
Yeah.
Because I am a human at the end of the day, right? And I don't even have to do that anymore because I have Granola who's taking notes in the background. And I was like, what is that thing that the person said? And it's like, he said this. And it's like, yes, this is actually, and I'm teaching now, I'm using Granola And now my next step is to integrate it with, now when I create my Cloud bot, to basically ensure that all of my notes are then summarized to me as what are the insights that I need from that lecture based on what I'm trying to create. So that's how I'm starting to incorporate a technology like Granola into my own life, I guess.
I love that. One last thought right here. CloudBot, we keep mentioning it. Do you see it working within like Instagram or like your LinkedIn, like sending messages?
That's a tricky one.
Yeah.
I think eventually it might. Okay, I mean, you already have ManyChat, right? ManyChat is kind of like, yeah. So for Instagram, yes. For things like LinkedIn, probably no. Okay, LinkedIn is really difficult when it comes to automation, which is why you have to have a differentiated strategy for LinkedIn. I do. Yeah, I mean, I think that you can use it for interacting with others at scale, but I think probably we need to think about that problem still a little bit more, because what I don't want is to tarnish my own brand by putting an AI to communicate with people and have it sound not like me.
Yeah.
Or have it be so clear that it's AI that people are like, whatever, You don't want that for your business.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a reputational thing as well. So are we going to start doing that in the future? I think yes. And I think tools like CloudBot are going to help with that. But I go back to the concept of what we were discussing before. I think we need to see these tools as enhancers, not replacement. So you still need to talk to people. You still need to monitor what are the conversations that are being had. But can you use it to just have maybe introduction comments to someone that you saw, liked your content? Yeah. Like just the first message, probably, because you would probably start any conversation about the same way, right? But then after that, I think you need a human. Yeah.
Well, with that, I think that's a good way to end the conversation. If they want to find you, where can the viewers find you?
The easiest way is always through LinkedIn. I'm super active on LinkedIn. Cruz Gamboa. My company is Ascend Growth Ventures. And if you just want to send an email, just send it to support@Ascend Growth Ventures. We read all the emails. I have a person that is, and it's not a robot, by the way. We have a person who actually monitors that email, and I'm just happy to have a conversation. Find out how we can support you, or just be partners. So that's what I do. I approach every conversation as, is this a good friend, a good business partner, or a potential client, right? So I mean, I want to win either way. So. Yeah, just reach out and we'll figure it out like what it is. Are you a friend, a partner, or a client?
Love that. All right. That's it.
All right, thank you guys.